Hello and welcome to the Good One podcast. My name is Laura and I am here every single day with a new video in the Word of God. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and hit the follow button, subscribe, however it works, a little notification button so you can be let know when a video will be up today, tomorrow, the next day, any day, honestly. Okay, we're going to get started. I have been homesick all day today with an upper respiratory infection. I have started this video 4 different times because my dog wanted to sit with me. He changed his mind. I'm sorry, you won't get to see him. He is super cute. But let's go ahead and begin. We are in Genesis. We are in chapter 19, 20, and 21 today. We left off yesterday. If you didn't watch the video, this way you kind of know where we're at. The Lord came and visited Abraham and Sarah and let them know that they would have a baby. And then as the Lord was walking away, he started talking about like wanting to destroy Sodom. Abraham interceded for Sodom and said, if there's at least 10 people there, will you leave the city standing? And the Lord said, yes, if there's 10 people there, then I will, 10 people who are not wicked, then I will leave the city standing, 10 righteous men. So now we're going into Sodom to see kind of what plays out. The chapter is called God Rescues Lot, so we can only assume what's going to happen here. But we know that Lot is Abraham's nephew and he lives in Sodom. So go ahead and pause here, worship, pray, connect with the Lord, and then hit play when you're ready to get started on chapter 19. Alrighty, go ahead and buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to get started. That's going to end up getting annoying one day. You guys are going to be like, please stop telling us to buckle up. We don't have seatbelts in our houses. Okay, chapter 19. The 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. I find this interesting because it says the 2 angels, and when you think of the word the used there grammatically, that typically means that these angels have been spoken about before. It's not introducing them. It's not saying 2 angels. It's saying the 2 angels, which when we think about when the Lord went and spoke with Abraham and Sarah, he appeared, there were 3 men there. And I was thinking that it could be the Trinity, but I'm also considering, maybe it was the Lord and the 2 angels who showed up and the Lord just did all of the talking. But all right, let's get going. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them and bowed himself with his face to the earth and said, "My lords, please turn aside to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise up early and go on your way." They said, "No, we will spend the night in the town square." But he pressed them strongly. So they turned aside to him and entered his house, and he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. I wonder why he was so pushy about them staying the night with him. Maybe he kind of knew how wicked that Sodom was and didn't think it was safe for them or something. All right, verse 4. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may know them." What a weird, that we may know them. We already know what that means. That's a very pretty way to say, so that we can sleep with them. And what a weird thing to do. We saw these 2 men go into your house and bring them out now so we can, have sex with them. You're like, why? Why is that happening? All right, verse 6. Lot went out to the men at the entrance, shut the door after him, and said, "I beg you, my brothers, do not act so wickedly." Yeah, you're trying to assault angels. "Behold, I have 2 daughters who have not known any man. Let me bring them out to you, and do to them as you please. Only do nothing to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof." That's wild. Yeah, don't assault the angels, but here, take my daughters. They're virgins. You can definitely do things to them. It would be much better, which is so confusing because I'm sure his daughters wouldn't be able to defend themselves against the men, but the angels probably would be able to defend themselves against the men. So I don't know why you're kind of trying to exchange one for the other. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me. That's that's gross. He's not a good dad. Verse 9. But they said, "Stand back." And they said, "This fellow came to sojourn, and he has become the judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them." Lot, go inside your house, because that does not sound pleasant. Then they pressed hard against that man Lot and drew near to break the door down. But the men reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And they struck with blindness the men who were at the entrance of the house, both small and great, so that they wore themselves out groping for the door. They struck them with blind. This is what I mean. Like, they definitely could have defended themselves. Like, they definitely could have done something to keep these guys away from them and not be assaulted. But your daughters, on the other hand, could not. So, like, who are they striking with blindness? No one. All right, verse 12. That's annoying. Then the men said to Lot, have you anyone else here, sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or anyone you have in the city? Bring them out of the place. For we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against its people has become great before the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and said to his sons-in-law who were to marry his daughters. That makes sense because he had said they weren't married and they didn't know any men yet. Up, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city. But he seemed to his sons-in-laws to be jesting. Oh, they thought he was joking. They weren't taking him serious. So he must have left the house to go get them. Yeah, it says he went out. He left the house to go get them, and they were probably like, oh, wow, he's so funny. Go away, Lot. Verse 15. As morning dawned, the angels urged Lot, saying, up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be swept away in the punishment of the city. But he lingered. Go, man. Why are you lingering? So the men seized him and his wife and his 2 daughters by the hand. The Lord, being merciful to him, they brought him out and set him outside the city. And as they brought them out, one said, escape for your life. Do not look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the hills, lest you be swept away. So they're literally saving. So Lot must be the only righteous man in the city, is what I'm getting from that. And for somebody who fits the bill of righteous, him trying to give away his daughters was not very righteous, in my opinion. So, I mean, I don't think that it would have been too hard for those who are extremely wicked to be just decent at the time. Verse 18. And Lot said to them, oh no, my lords, behold, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have shown me great kindness in saving my life. But I cannot escape to the hills, lest the disaster overtake me and I die. Behold, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my life will be saved. He said to them, behold, I grant you this favor also, that I will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Escape there quickly, for I can do nothing till you arrive there. Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar. Okay, so Lot asked to just go to Zoar, and they said, sure, go there, and we won't destroy anything until you get there. Which is funny that he's I think, for him, it's not necessarily that he's a good person, but it's that he knew who God was and he had faith in the Lord, which is kind of what deemed him worthy of being saved. Because the other people there didn't care about God, didn't want a relationship with him, and just wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. So Lot might not have been the best dad, but that he still had faith in God. That's what I'm going based off of. That's what I think. All right. God destroys Sodom. Verse 23, still in chapter 19. The sun had risen on the earth when Lot came to Zoar. Then the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the valleys and all the inhabitants of the cities and what grew on the ground. But Lot's wife behind him looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. They told you not to look back. They warned you. A pillar of salt. Why salt? Like she was just like what you see in the movies. I guess it's because she looked back and she didn't listen. But why salt? Who knows? Who knows why she turned into salt? That's a good question. Okay, verse 27. And Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord, and he looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the valley, and he looked, and behold, the smoke of the land went up like a smoke of a furnace. So it was that when God destroyed the cities of the valley, God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrown, where he overthrew the cities in which Lot had lived. And that's very, I think that this is a full circle moment for Abraham. He was able to have that conversation with God and understand why God planned on destroying these cities. He was able to banter back and forth and say, if this is what you're going to do, what if there's good people there? So he should have that certainty and confirmation in him that, there was nobody there left to save. And if there was, God would have saved them and sent them out, just like he had said, and what he did for Lot. So that should be even more confirmation when Abraham sees that Lot is alive, that God is just and follows what he says, is a man of his word, or a God of his word. All right, Lot and his daughters. Now Lot went up out of Zoar and lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, for he was afraid to live in Zoar. So he lived in a cave with his two daughters, okay? And the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, and there is not a man on earth to come in to us after the manner of all the earth. What? Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve offspring from our father. I just got nauseous. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and laid with her father. And he did not know when she laid down or when she arose. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm not even joking. That made me like, they got him drunk and then that's their dad. Oh my gosh. It was only two cities. He didn't destroy the whole world. Do they think he destroyed everything? Obviously, they think he destroyed. You're going to sleep with your dad? Like, So the first one did it. Did they both do it? Come in, let us okay, they both laid with him. We may preserve offspring from our father. So they made their father drink. The firstborn went in. It says, but it doesn't say the second one went in. And it says that that he had no idea. That, like, you're going to jail for that. That's just weird. That's wild. I mean, back then, I guess, like, the whole way that these lineages continued on was, because I'm trying to justify it in my mind, but there's no just reason for this. But like, brothers and sisters got married back then with Adam and Eve. So, but like your dad in the cave, and that's what. Ugh, they should have left them in Sodom. They should have left them behind. Verse 34. The next day the firstborn said to the younger, behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine tonight also. Then you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve offspring from our father. So they made their father drink wine that night also, 2 nights in a row. And the younger arose and laid with him, and he did not know when she laid down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. What? And here Sarah is trying to get pregnant for years, 99 years, still not pregnant, waiting on her baby. And these two abuse their dad and get pregnant right on a one-time go, and they're pregnant. The firstborn bore a son and called his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the Ammonites to this day. That's just yucky. That's a part of history that we could have, like, forgotten. We could have just not known that Lot's grandsons are his sons too. I'm so sorry, Lot. You got saved. You tried to do something nice. Maybe that was like payback for, offering them up to every other man in the city. But that's wild. Okay, chapter 20. That's insane. That, like, whole paragraph is just like, why? I don't think that because it's in the Bible, that means that it's, like, approved. I'm just going to lay that out there. Because some people say, well, like, slavery is in the Bible and assault is in the Bible, and these things are in there, so that must mean that God's okay with it. I don't think that God is okay with those things happening, but I think that this is just a historical account of what happened. And, like, that is just not good. Not good, not good. All right, Abraham and Abimelech. From there, Abraham journeyed toward the territory of the Negev and lived between Kadesh and Shur, and he sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said to Sarah, his wife, she is my sister. Why? He said up that she's his again? How many people is he going to tell that Sarah's his sister? I'm confused. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah, but God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. Yeah, but he didn't know that. Abraham's like just like a pimp at this point for his wife. Now Abimelech had not approached her, so he said, Lord, will you kill innocent people? Did he not himself say to me, she is my sister? And she herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands, I have done this. Then God said to him in the dream, yes, I know that you have done this in the integrity of your heart, and it was I who kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. Now then, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, so that he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. Abraham's wild. What are you doing over here? Got the Pharaoh with plagues, got Abimelech almost murdered. Like, Abraham, She's your wife, not your sister. I know there's confusion going on between Lot and his daughters and you and Sarah, but like, let's all just draw the lines in the sand. Abraham, Sarah, married, not brother and sister. Verse 8. So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things. And the men were very much afraid. I'm sure I'd be shaking in my boots. You're about to all die. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, what have you done to us? Valid question. And how have I sinned against you that you have brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? You have done to me things that ought not be done. Yeah, call him out. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what did you see that you did this thing? Abraham said, I did it because I thought there is no fear of God at all in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. You think everybody's going to kill you because of your wife. I'm surprised nobody's killed you for lying and saying that she's your sister. Verse 12. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother. Oh my gosh. What? What just happened? Oh no. No. What? I didn't know that. That's wild. Oh, she is his sister. Did you know that? I didn't know that. And she became my wife. So she's his half sister and she's his wife. So technically, he's not lying, which is where he's coming from. What? I'm sorry. My mind is blown. I didn't know that. I'm going to go tell everybody at church on Sunday. I'm not even joking. I'm going to be walking around that church. Did you know Abraham and Sarah are brother and sister for realsies? Like, he wasn't lying when he told everybody that. That's wild. Okay, we're on verse 13. What? And when God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, this is the kindness you must do me. At every place to which we come, say of me, he is my brother. That's so wild. Oh no. Oh. Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male servants and female servants and gave them to Abraham and returned Sarah, his wife, to him. Why is everybody giving him things? Stop giving him things. And Abimelech said, behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you. I'm confused. I have confusion. I don't understand. Why? Why do you want him to dwell where it pleases him? Oh, Jesus, help me understand what's happening right now, please. Amen. Verse 16. To Sarah he said, behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a sign of your innocence in the eyes of all who are with you, and before everyone you are vindicated. Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and also healed his wife. Oh, he already had a wife, and he's over here like trying to get with Sarah and female slaves so that they bore children. Everybody's having babies now. For the Lord had closed all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. How long was Sarah there with him? Just chilling. Okay, I have to eat my words now because I was like, husband, wife, yeah, let's make sure there's a line drawn in the sand. There is no line in the sand. The sand is all mixed up because they're both. They're husband and wife and brother and sister, and this is just all so incestuous. Okay, the birth of Isaac. 21, chapter 21. The Lord visited Sarah and he said, and the Lord did to Sarah as he had promised. Oh, so he visited and now she's pregnant. And Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, yep, there it is again, when he was 8 days old, as God has commanded him. Okay, so following the commandments of God. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, God has made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh over me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. Yeah, it's like, 100 years later, but for this purpose. She hadn't had a baby for so long because it was supposed to be Isaac. Isaac was supposed to be the child that she had. So God protects Hagar and Ishmael. Yeah, they're still there. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, laughing. So she said to Abraham, Cast out this slave woman with her son, for the son of this slave woman shall not be heir with my son Isaac. I don't like Sarah. I'm not a Sarah fan. You might be beautiful on the outside, but you're not so beautiful on the inside, my friend. Verse 11. And the thing was very displeasing to Abraham on account of his son. But God said to Abraham, be not displeased because of the boy and because of your slave woman. Whatever Sarah says to you, do as she tells you. For though Isaac shall your offspring be named. And for through, gosh, my reading is rough today. And I will make a nation of the son of the slave woman also, because he is your offspring. So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder along with the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the child under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, a good way off, about the distance of a bow shot. For she said, let me not look on the death of the child. Oh, that's so sad. And as she sat opposite him, she lifted her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Up, lift up the boy, and hold him fast with your hand, for I will make him into a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave it to the boy to drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew up. He lived in the wilderness and became an expert with the bow. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. So he got married to a girl from Egypt, Hagar and Ishmael. These poor, their story is sad because she gets, like, she didn't want to have, relations with Abraham, had to have relations with him, ended up getting pregnant, was super sad that she was pregnant. Sarah hated her after she got pregnant, even though it was her idea. Then Sarah's getting spiteful and jealous because the son that you made her have is around, which is like gonna happen, and they're sent away because of Sarah's spitefulness. And now they're almost dying because there's no water or anything where they're at. And so, thank God that he came and like did that for them. But it's just so their story is very sad because, they weren't wanted. Like she didn't want that and they didn't want her son. So even though that was the whole point of her and Abraham even being together. Okay, a treaty with Abimelech. Verse 22 in chapter 21. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, God is with you in all that you do. Now, therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me or with my descendants or with my prosperity, but as I have dealt kindly with you, so you will deal with me and with the land where you have sojourned. Oh, I get it. So he's being so nice to Abraham because he knows that God is with Abraham and he knows that Abraham like walks closely with the Lord. So he's taking good care of him. And maybe that's also why Pharaoh gave him and let him leave alive because of the plagues, because they were fearful that if they did anything to Abraham, even worse would come upon them. See, the Holy Spirit is so good. Look at this revelation. Okay, and Abraham said, I will swear. So he's not going to do anything to her, Abimelech. Verse 25. When Abraham reproved Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized, Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, and I have not heard of it until today. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock apart. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart? He said, these 7 lambs you will take from my hand, that this may be a witness for me that I dug this well. Therefore that place was called Beersheba, because they're both of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, rose up and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines. Oh, how cool is it that the same well that Abraham built there is the same well that Hagar and Ishmael ended up seeing and drinking water from to save him because he was probably really dehydrated. That's wild. What a connection. Okay. there were some revelations made in the reading of the chapters today. I am astonished. I am like mind blown about Lot and his daughters and about Abraham and Sarah being brother and sister. I need to like mentally recover from that. I need to just soak it in and sit down and like stare up at the sky and question the fact that that even happened. That was wild. That was like, what a turnaround. What a turnaround. Okay. Tomorrow we are still in Genesis. We are now going to be introduced to Isaac, Abraham and Sarah's son. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm not feeling too good. My nose is itchy. Got stuff going on, but I'll be here. Okay. Bye.